Hello and welcome to another short drawing lesson. This week we're going to draw the Ferrari 308. It's got some tricky curves, but it should be manageable. Try and draw as light as you can. So the first thing we'll do is the front wheel over here. If you move your whole arm you often get nicer lines than if you just move your fingertips. The next thing we'll do is the second wheel, and that will be one wheel, two wheels, and a half wheel, 2.5 wheels further back. Next we need the bottom of the car, which is a horizontal line halfway between the bottom of the wheel and the middle. And now we need a parallel line to that one that's halfway between the middle of the wheel and the top of the wheel. And that can extend out each end of the car as well. That's the black line that runs right down the middle of the car. Next we need the front of the car, which will be over here, and that's 3/4 of a wheel further forward. So you measure one wheel, take a little bit off, and there we need quite a slope backwards. That's the nose of the car, and we can finish that off now as well. So after this first bit of a slope, we can come back further, so we're heading towards the bottom of the car, and partway along there we've got a small spoiler. At the back of the car we want to come sort of 2/3 of a wheel out the back, so this is one wheel, 2/3 is about here, and at that point we want a slightly overhanging curving line to cut through it. It's more above than below, so about this far below we can have a straight line again heading towards the bottom of the car, and that's where you'll find the exhaust. So next we're on to the tricky part, the curving line that goes across the tops of the wheels. So it goes up and down and up and down, and you'd expect the high points to be above the wheels, but they're actually slightly behind, which is interesting. So the first thing we need to know is where the lowest point is, I think. So if we go half a wheel further back from the front wheel and go slightly higher than the front wheel, this is going to be, so this is slightly higher than there, half a wheel further back, that's going to be our low point in the curve. So now we need from here a kind of a sloping upwards that reaches a point and comes back down to somewhere near that point we made. Doesn't matter if you don't quite get there like I didn't. The next one, it starts going up again, and the high point at the back here is actually sort of above this point here at the back of the wheel arch, and that's a bit higher than at the front, so somewhere around there. So we need to come up, go through there, and then we can start dropping downwards a tiny bit. It's very difficult. It gives you that Coke bottle shape that's iconic with these Ferraris from that era, and there's a tiny spoiler at the end. Right, let's see if that worked. So the next thing we can do is the door. So we've got a slightly curving line for the front edge of the door there. The back edge, if you come to that half, we've got this extra half a wheel here, haven't we? If you go up from there, that's where the top of the door can start. And we've got a curve that then becomes more sloping down the bottom. And this is where our pillar starts, the A pillar, quite sloping. And then side window. So this pillar here, the B pillar, you want to come in slightly in front of where the door starts, and it's got a slight angle like this. And this same angle you can use for this little window here, and you can also use that same angle, it's all just parallel to that, for the back edge of this side window, just here. And our window comes down to meet that. You need to thicken that roof up and extend it slightly out the back, where there's a straight line running into that spoiler. And the windscreen needs to be much more sloping than this side pillar. So you can see the bottom edge of it curving over the bonnet. And what else do we need? Oh yeah, the classic air intake at the side there. And that stops just about halfway between the door and the wheel. Just a sort of cone shape. So now we can get onto some details. We'll put the ground in. The wheels on the far side of the car. We can darken the underneath slightly. We've got little bumpers at each end of this line, sticking out slightly. And that line can be thickened up slightly because it is a sort of black piece of trim. Inside the windows we can see a seat, steering wheel. On the front we've got windscreen wiper. In here we can start to see where the engine is. It's kind of a firewall sticking up there. And some little vents. And lastly, we just darken these parts here just to show that there's a bit of depth to the canopy, the cabin. A tiny bit of shading. A bit more shadow on the floor. Shade those wheels. There's the door keyhole there. And I think that's pretty much everything we need. Yeah, I just noticed my nose was ever so slightly too thin there, and just thickening it up slightly I think has helped a lot. It's just balanced the car a bit. These arches are actually quite, they've got a bit of a flare to them, so you can just draw that kind of banana shape over the top just to show there's a reflection. And hopefully you've now got something that looks a bit like a Ferrari 308. One of the trickier ones I think with those curves, but otherwise not too bad. Hope you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments if there's something you'd like me to try next, and I'll see what I can do. Otherwise, have a good week, and I'll see you for another one soon.